Welcome to Season 3 of the Casual Camping Podcast, your home for the best camping discussion both in and out of the field. Here are your hosts, Tim and Aid.
Welcome to this week's episode of Casual Camping Podcast. I am Tim.
Hi, Tim. I'm Aid. Welcome back, listeners.
How are you?
I'm not too bad. You know what this week is?
No.
It's a week after camping, so it's blooming great.
Isn't it just? Oh, I had the best time. I had absolutely the best time.
Yeah, it's certainly for you, 6 months longer not being in the field, just you just forget it. Just everything else goes out, and I think that's the love of camping, isn't it? Where am I pitching? Am I going to be warm tonight? What have I brought with me? How am I setting my tent out? Do we have some, it's all of the nonsense that generally comes from life and how busy you are doing stuff. And it just comes down to the very basics of enjoying the kit that you've got, thinking about the food, maybe having a couple of shandies over some good chats with friends.
Ed. At no point can anyone say our setups were basic.
No,
we do not. We do not do this basic. We do not do this. Well, I was going to take minimal stuff because I'm still not meant to be like lifting heavy weights and stuff like that. But I'm so glad that you said, no, Tim, you've not been camping for ages. You're taking all your toys, you're going to set them all up, and you're just going to play with all your camping stuff. And it was great. I was a big kid with all my big expensive toys. It was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
I think I did say, no, Tim, I'll help you, and then didn't help you at all.
yeah. I wasn't going to drop you in it like that, but now you have. You absolutely.
I realised I helped you pull that sort of cart a little bit, but that was it.
Yeah. Yeah, once we got on pitch, you were literally like, oh, yeah, I'm just doing my own thing now.
Me and Tom did have a little conversation that said, if he drops down dead, let's quickly strip him of the good quality gear. And easy.
Yeah, steady on.
Who's getting his tent? Who's getting his tent stuck? No, he didn't come camping with anything. And sorry, Tom. I've just included you in that complete fabrication, but it sounded funny. We didn't have that conversation, but it might have happened.
Yeah. If I fall over in the woods, all of my gear will be gone.
What's that philosophical? Oh gosh, can't say it. What's that philosophical question of if a tree falls over in the woods and there's nobody there to hear it, does it make a sound?
Yeah. I think there was a thing of a clip somewhere that I'm sure I put on socials of you boring Tom about all your Yetis, and I did say if a Yeti falls over in the woods, does Adi still buy it? Tom had glazed over. He totally glazed over at that point.
Sorry about that, Tom. I would have to say, Aid is peak Yeti'd, I think, at the minute. Wow. There is nothing else. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd have a cup or a water bottle and stuff. I don't think there's anything in the range that I haven't already got that I would want more. You got me the Ghost storage box. I've got the smaller King Crab one. That for those lighter journeys where I'm not taking everything.
Deadliest Snatch.
Yeah. And then, I've got the 15 and the 32 cool boxes. I'm kind of all Yeti'd up, really.
Don't forget your bucket.
Sorry, are you glazing over again?
Sorry, yeah. I was just going to say,
was this the conversation I was doing?
I just fell off my stool then.
Hey, it's when fellas get to a certain age, all we do is repeat. I've got 3 stories, Tim, and 2 of them are about camping and Yeti.
To tell you what, you've only got 2 stories. You just keep repeating them. You think there's 3.
You only know about 2. 3 is the secret one.
Oh no, that's for the other show. Oh God,
dear.
no! It was an epic weekend, and I, having not been camping for ages, it was just brilliant to get it all out, to get it all set up, to do 2 nights, because one night's great, but 2 nights is better. You know, it's twice as many, and properly relax. You know what? I realised, looking at all the footage and the photos and stuff that we took and the stuff that we've done for socials, we spent all the time cooking and eating.
You really did, didn't we?
We absolutely did. You know, we had the fantastic, and I am going to use it, the fantastic people from Jetboil join us with the Genesis. We had your fast fold oven, so you were doing some baking. We had the Dutch oven, and we were doing leg of lamb. It was just food. Let's see how many different bits of kit we can cook on in one camping weekend. It was epic.
Well, I mean, I will bring you back to the fact that I did. So I forgot something. I forgot my mattress airbed pump type thing.
Yes,
I wouldn't
you
have been
did.
sleeping on the ground, but you know there was other people there, so I went and borrowed one. And there was a young lad that said, "Do you do podcasts? Do you are you on YouTube?" And I was like, "Yes, we are." I think he thought we were more famous or somebody else, but I'm taking it, Tim.
Yeah,
I am taking it.
You look like Joe Robinet. Just put your arm in a sling. Put your arm in a sling. You'll be.
If Joe Robinette put on like doubled his weight or something. Sorry, Joe. He meant it as a compliment.
I did. Yeah, genuinely.
He does follow us, you know. He does follow us.
Yeah, that's called stalking.
Well, I think I'd commented too many times, and he was like, "Oh, I'll just give him a follow to stop him commenting."
Oh, and then silently unfollow a few days later. We've all done that.
We've all done that. Will they know that I've unfollowed them? No, listeners, you can't do that. You got to subscribe. You got to keep on. Tell your friends, those people that are talking about camping and maybe going. We are the best camping podcast that's out there. So come and join the family.
We absolutely are. We are the number 1 camping podcast in the world. It's yeah, we are. And join the chat. So if you're on Facebook, go to our Facebook group, Casual Camping Podcast, and join the chat. Curtis has put on today. Curtis, we met at the Bushcraft show last year. We've met him a couple of times as top bloke. He's quoted one of our shows, and I've got to read this out because I'm taking this, Curtis, as a mediocre 5-star review. And whether you mean it that or not, he's put heaps of slags all over Birmingham has just ruined me. I've had to explain why I'm laughing to myself like a nutter to the lad I work with. Our work here is done. Thank you.
I mean, you know, it's the odds of probability, really, isn't it? There's got to be something that somebody bursts out laughing. I know we entertain ourselves, but hopefully,
hopefully, there's something in amongst all of this.
People come for the camping, Tim. They stay for the laughs. That's.
I think they do.
I'm telling me.
Well, I think they come for the camping and realise that we're not experts, but occasionally you're funny.
Well, funny, peculiar.
funny looking. Wah, wah, wah.
So, yes. Well, thank you, Curtis.
Yeah. I have actually got a genuine mediocre 5-star review that's been sent in on our fan mail. So if you're listening to the podcast, if you go to the show notes, the first little link at the top is to send us your mediocre 5-star review. And this has come from Stuart. No surname, can't be traced. Another incredible episode. Loved it. To have Jet Ballman on site, amazing. Can't wait to catch up with you guys at the show at the weekend.
Wow,
which is cool. Thank you, Stuart. That's awesome.
Brilliant. Yeah,
we are going to we're going to the National Outdoor Expo, aren't we? At the weekend
at the NEC, and what people will know about this one is the parking's really expensive.
Yeah, for the
last one was free, wasn't it?
And, It was free. But I think they're doing another promotion on tickets, because I saw this morning that they're doing them for £5 again. So yeah, but the parking is expensive. But this week's show, it's on this weekend, which is I've forgotten what date it is. It is the 22nd and 23rd of March, and it's at the National Exhibition Centre in Birmingham here in the UK. And it's as opposed to the show that we went to a few weeks ago, this is a smaller show, but it's none of the sort of caravans and motorhomes and those things. It's all about being in the outdoors. So it's all those smaller pieces of kit. So it's your little tents and roof tents. It's your walking poles. It's your kit. So what kit do you need? This place is full of all of that amazing, fantastic, brilliant, fantabulous stuff. And we are going to be there on Saturday the 22nd. So if you want to come and say hello, stop us. We'll be wandering around looking at stuff just like you are. We are camping fans just as much as everybody else is. So stop us and we'll say hello.
Yeah, there's some great talks as well. I was looking at Who's Talking, and our friend who we interviewed last year has got a spot.
Is it Tom?
Yeah.
Off the beaten pot, Tom.
Yeah.
He did message a while ago to say he was possibly cooking on one of the days, which is really cool. Hats off to you, Tom. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, certainly. So yeah, there'll be some. I think I saw last year somebody that was talking about what they were doing in Glencoe, and where they'd turned that from a winter event place to an all year round one. So they'd done things like bike routes and stuff like that. So so you get to learn about an awful lot of stuff as well. So looking forward to it. I've got no plans for it, but it'd be nice to see people. And once again, it's, if you're not near one of these big shops that has all the stuff, it's really nice to see. And sometimes you get a show discount. There were some great deals at the last one, wasn't there?
There was some epic deals at the last one. So I'm not actually in the market for anything, but I said that at the last show and came away with a chair, a windbreak, and a cool box. But sometimes these show prices are so tempting you can't walk away from them. But we'll see what happens at this one. I don't think I need anything, but I'm gonna I'm open to the possibility. I'm open to persuasion.
Well, hopefully somebody's launching something that we've just not seen, or sometimes a really good price talks you into something that you didn't know you needed until you saw that.
Oh God, I can always be talked in. I can always be.
I can always I'm the person that nobody should come to if they want talking out of it, because I was like, no, buy it. Buy it now. Do it.
You're the person I come to if I need persuading.
Yeah.
So if I'm on the fence at all, it's like, oh, Ed, do I need this? Yes, you do, Tim. Great, thanks.
There's no, what is it? What do you need it for? It's just, yeah, of course you do. Just buy it.
You're the devil on my shoulder.
Yeah. I'm a little devil generally.
Oh, bless him.
So,
you're normally on the naughty step, are you?
well, I rather than the naughty step, I'd say the mischievous step. I'm a little bit mischievous. I'm not naughty, but I can be mischievous.
You cheeky chap.
Well, yes. So, what are we talking about this week, Tim?
We are talking about borrowing and lending stuff. Do you do it? Should you do it? Can you do it? Or is it a yes or a no? It's borrowing it, because we talked about, if we go back to an episode we did last year on first time camping, and a good way to get into camping is to try and find a mate such as like what we are, who've got loads of gear, and borrow some, because camping it's got more expensive. It used to be the really cheap option to get away, didn't it? But it's not anymore. It's actually quite expensive to go camping. If you want to be really comfortable, you do have to spend a bit of money. So actually, borrow stuff is something that we said, if you can find someone that's prepared to lend you some kit so that you can go and try it before you buy it, then that's a great thing. But the reality is, do you do that? Do you do that?
Well, I don't do that. I think I have done it in the past, but I know that I really take care of stuff. I really take care of somebody's stuff if they lend it to me. So I'm a good person to do that with. But yeah, I think for me, I'm always kind of caught between: is that person going to use and abuse it?
Yeah.
Is that person skilled enough? I've got a friend, and God bless him. Every time I see him putting up his tent, I think it's like the first time he's put it up. He's not got into a rhythm yet. He shall remain nameless, although he might suspect who he is.
You know who you are.
Yes, Tim, it's you I'm talking about.
I haven't been camping for months. I'm sorry, Ed.
I've forgotten.
I did actually, and listeners can go to YouTube, the long video that we put on YouTube for the whole thing. That in amongst that, there's a time lapse of me putting my bell tent up. And at one point, I tried to shove the centre pole up before I've actually pegged out the tent. And at that point, I realised I haven't actually put this tent up for ages. I've forgotten what I'm doing.
Forgot the order that it happened.
Yeah, so I had to put the pole down and then go and peg it all out. You can just see it if you watch that time lapse. Yeah, I nearly completely epically failed putting my own tent up.
The muscle memory wasn't there, Tim.
No.
Don't give this man a gun. Don't give him. What? Which end goes in your mouth?
Oh my God, Eddie. I was going to say the camping dementia got to me, but you just went all the way to the dark place, didn't you? Oh my God.
Oh dear. Oh, sorry about that.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, so that's the other thing as well. If you've got gear and you're quite sort of you love your stuff and whatever, you have to be mindful about who you're giving it to, and do they show you that they've got some good skills in life before they get your good gear? I mean, sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, have you got like a tally list of people that you're, with like a scale of people on it, and those at one end where you're more likely to lend them stuff because they're a bit more sensible, and people at the other end that you're absolutely never going to lend anything to because they're absolute, you know,
Yes.
I ain't going to use the words, but you all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I've got it to kits. It's the more robust stuff that I've got within my kit. So if somebody asked me to borrow my Snow Peak fire pit because they were going away, yes, there's nothing you could
Yeah,
do with that.
yeah.
That would be fine. Would I lend somebody my Snow Peak kitchen? No, I would not.
No,
No matter how good they are, I wouldn't even lend it to you, to be honest.
I wouldn't.
And that's nothing about
No,
you.
I was just going to say I wouldn't borrow it from you because actually it's quite a complicated piece of kit. It's I would be terrified that I would somehow not use it right or would lose one of the little fiddly twiddly
Yeah.
knobs that are on the sides of it and give it back to you with any kind of damage at all or something missing. It's and that's the other thing is I suppose then there's equipment that if I needed to borrow something, would I borrow it? But actually, there's some equipment that I'm just going to go, I just wouldn't borrow that. I just, and something like your supremely technical Snow Peak kitchen that is your pride and joy. Who's coming along and asking to borrow that from you? I mean, they're not on the right planet, are they? Really? If
Yeah,
they're doing
no.
that, there's something wrong
And
with them.
I think I'd be snarling at them, it'd be like displeasure, I've lost the ability to communicate any other way. Stop talking now and back away.
I have lent things to people in the past, and I like your idea of sort of the really solid, robust stuff that you've got. So equally, my Winterwell fire pit, you cannot damage that. You'd have to be jumping up and down on it. Which why would you do that? So as long as you're using it as a fire pit, you cannot damage that, and I would happily lend that out to anyone. But I have been bitten in the past. I have lent. Years ago, I had a 2-bedroom 6-man tent, like tunnel.
Wasn't it brand new as well?
It was pretty new. I think I'd used it once and lent it out, and they put it up in a storm, and it was quite windy. They probably didn't put it up properly. I know I found out much later that they admitted that they did put it up with the door unzipped. So they pegged it all out and then they tried to zip it up really quickly. And of course, there was too much tension and they just tore the zip and wrecked the zip. So the zip didn't work again. And you can't replace tent zips. They're really, really expensive. So that tent was completely wrecked. And said individual actually didn't think it was a problem, which just like, okay, it's a bit of a problem. So I'm a little bit tempted by lending stuff because
I'm tainted by that story because that is just a nightmare for a new tent and go, what harm can somebody do? But actually, I've pegged out a tent with the door open and come to try and close it and gone, oh shit, I need to move the pegs in because I've not, I've tested it and gone as far as I dare with it and then think, I need to redo those.
Some more slack.
And within a storm scenario, that'd be a bit of a panic. So but what a nightmare scenario. Brand new tent, second time being used, and somebody's bust it.
I used to be a nice guy. I used to be a nice guy and lend out stuff and do things like that. I'm not anymore.
You tell yourself that, Tim. I've known you longer than anyone. He is a nice guy.
No, I've never been. I've never been nice. You're the funny guy.
You Yeah, so I think that's the thing, and I'm hoping that there's some people that are listening to us this week that this might be one of their first podcasts. They're looking for podcasts, and they've gone, I know, I'll go to Player FM and find out which is the best podcast in the world. We've probably gone down a few things now. We're always up and down, but we're persevering. We just let's do another couple of episodes, Tim. Get back up there.
Get up there. We just
Number
need a good...
one for those people that have made 90 shows on. But yeah, so they might be thinking, well, yeah, I'll listen to a podcast. How do I get into it? So, there are those things about tent shares. Go along with somebody that you don't mind spending close quarters with, that wants to go, oh yeah, I've got a tent. Why don't you come along with me? Make sure you get some nice weather, because that'll make it really nice.
That is the other thing, isn't it? So it's not just borrowing stuff. It's actually sharing when they go on. So normally when we kind of go camping, once in a while we'll stay in the same tent, but most of the vast majority of the time we actually take our own tents and our own gear and camp in the same place, but all set up separately. And we did that, the other weekend, and there was three of us, and we all took our own tents, and we had our own space. And it is nice, particularly if you're there for a couple of nights or longer, to have your own space to kind of zip yourself away in and kind of have your own space. But actually, yeah, if somebody won't lend you their stuff, but actually they might say, well, come along with me. But you've got that thing of, I've only met you 3 times. I don't really want to stay in a tiny little tent with you.
Are you getting undressed? I'll look the other way, promise.
You're Gary from finance at work. I don't actually know you outside of work. Suddenly you're sharing a very intimate space, and the wind's howling outside, so you can't be outside, and you're just kind of in there going, "You all right?"
This sounds like it's happened, Tim. This isn't counselling,
It's not camping counselling. I'm sure it is. It's good for your mental health. It hasn't happened to me, but I'm sure it's happened to somebody out there. I have shared little tents with people in the past, and it's too much. You need your own space. I
think. Yeah, certainly when I was younger, me and my mates, we had one tent that we shared between 3 of us. We'd go off. It was close quarters, but actually you spent 99% of the time outdoors. Yeah. It was summertime camping and things like that. And actually, you spend predominantly more time in the tent, depending on the seasons, so it's kind of early spring now. Yeah. When it's colder, you tend to go to bed earlier and all those other things.
Yeah.
So yeah, that certainly is. But if you're wanting to know whether or not this is sharing, is a really good way of piggybacking somebody on. We're quite inclusive. We'd always bring people along with us. But we're going to meet some friends next month. I've already made that offer of, does anybody need to think, because I've got a really crappy tent that I don't mind sharing.
I have a lending tent.
Yeah.
We've already talked previously about we have lots of tents for different purposes and everything else. I specifically have a tent I have never used. It's a pop-up tent. It came in a mystery box that I bought from somewhere that came with some lights and all sorts of other things. But but one thing in there was a 2-man pop-up tent that I've never even popped it up because I doubt I'd be able to put it back away. It's the honesty. But it's in there. It's stored in it's in a big circular bag. And it's stored there, but it's like somebody needs to borrow a tent, they can borrow that tent. I was a little bit disappointed, if I'm honest, when it came in the mystery box, because it was quite a large item, and it obviously took up a lot of space and a lot of value for the mystery
Yeah.
box, where I'd have rather had lots of smaller little things. But then I did think, you know what? That's the lending tent, so it
Yeah.
just takes no storage space at all because it's completely flat. And if anybody needs a tent, then that's the tent they can borrow. And
Yeah.
I don't need them to touch any of my nice stuff.
Yeah, I bought my son a tent years ago when he just got a little bit too old to be staying with me. So I bought him his own tent, but I wasn't going to go sort of full on buy the tent that I would want.
Mm.
And it stayed with me. He doesn't go camping in the same way these days. I think he does go with his friends. But I've got that as it's going to be wet this weekend and muddy, so I will take it kind of thing. I don't mind it getting wrecked, and you can hose it down afterwards. Or that I lend it out to people. And similarly, I've got kit like that as well. I've got a sleeping bag, a summertime sleeping bag that I don't really use. I sometimes use it to add an extra layer over the winter, just in case I might be cold. Put it inside another one,
Good
double
idea.
up a season, and an old airbed. Old airbed that has never gone down on me, no matter what. It's one of those rubberized ones that weighs a ton.
Not the only thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, wrong podcast.
I didn't even hear that. It's just like,
don't you hate it when it doesn't go down on you? The airbed. Sorry, Ed. Deep breaths. You need your inhaler.
Yeah, I do. We might need to cut this bit, Tim.
We don't edit.
Oh God,
I'll edit.
Yeah, so those are the things that I don't use them anymore unless I'm going like a really ropey place that I think, oh, actually, I'm not going to take my other kit that, they're just, it's a bit more rough and ready. Oh, it's for a night. Yeah, okay. I'll be comfortable. It'll be fine. But I also will loan those out. And I don't mind if they get knackered.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to, in a couple of weeks' time or 2-3 weeks' time, we're going camping, aren't we? And I'm looking forward to trying the Vord tent that I bought last year and then did up and re-waterproofed and restrung all the lines and everything. It's like a 20-30-year-old tent that I'm going to take out, but that's going to be a tent that I'm going to be less precious about because it's just, I'm looking forward to seeing how it performs. But actually, that might also become a tent that I might not mind, if people want to borrow that because actually it's just been a bit of a toy to kind of tinker with, really, and strip it down and clean it and get it back to being able to go out in the field. I'm looking forward to trying that out in the field.
Yeah, no, that'd be really good. I think it brings up that other aspect to tent sharing, which I'm grasping here, but that kind of secondhand market of, if you're thinking about going camping, you want to share somebody's tent or whatever those things are, there is a great secondhand market, and secondhand tents, unless they've got really good names on them, you can pick up quite cheap.
Yeah.
It's within anybody's pocket. Try eBay, try Facebook. Facebook sells in your locality. You can pick up some great bargains for tents.
Yeah.
And certainly here in the UK, it's this time of year that you start to get tents. Go and ask in your local charity shop what they've got. Have they got a tent anywhere? Because I've found loads over the years, and I've worked in that industry, so I know that people that work in charity shops go, "Oh, it's a tent," and it just gets put on the shelf because they don't know and look at it. Whereas I'd get it out and have a look, and generally, check them over. So yeah,
top tip, Ed.
Top tip.
That might be this season's first top tip.
What?
I know.
Yeah.
Boom.
Well,
Yeah,
Um,
it's a good shout out though, because the season is about, for most people in here in the UK, here in the Northern Hemisphere, so over in the States and Canada as well, their camping season is about to start. So this is actually the perfect time to be selling some equipment. So if you have got that spare stuff and you want to sell it, get it listed, because people will be looking to buy it, or
uh,
hold on to it and lend it out and just be
yeah.
kind.
Yeah, I think that's another great tip. Yeah, if anybody is needing some cash, this is a great time to start to list it and get it out there and stuff. Once again, it's recycling at its best.
Yeah.
Move it on. If you've not used it last year and you don't think you're going to use it this year, at some point, I do it every sort of 3 or 4 years when I've got a build-up of tents or I find another tent that I want. Oh, what tent can I sell? I didn't use my yellow tent. I forget who it's by. Didn't use it last year at all, and I love it. I love the shape of it.
Is it Sierra Designs?
Ah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yes.
See.
Yeah, North American brand. Really,
Mm,
really loved it. I got it imported into the UK. Sold 2 tents to buy that because it kind of combined the best of both of them, which it
mm.
did. External exoskeleton on it. It's just absolutely
Nice looking
brilliant.
tent. Really nice looking tent.
Um, but I elastic the poles, I think a
Mm.
year or so ago. Yeah, just love it. But yeah, at some point, if that goes through this year without me using it, that baby's going to get sold.
Well, yeah, and that's quite a sensible thing, because we have so much kit. I have a stupid amount of tents, but actually, I get a bit attached to some of them, which is probably why
Mm,
I don't really want to lend them out. Like my North Face Big Fat Frog,
yeah.
you know, it's not the best tent out there, and it's a pitch inner first, which drives me mad. Little hiking tent, pitch inner first. Are you joking? You're going to get all wet, but. I love that tent. I absolutely love it. I'm never going to
Yeah.
lend that out to anyone, because it's too precious to me. It's too precious.
Yeah. And if you are thinking of lending out a tent, maybe don't lend a complex tent to somebody. So
Yeah,
my Sierra Designs, all the poles are attached. You just need to let the poles out and go. But there's a certain way in which you pitch it. There's no point me lending that out to somebody because I know how to pitch it. I've thrown away the instructions on how to pitch it. So I wouldn't lend that out to anybody because it'd be like, yeah, I'm going to get that back broken.
yeah.
I
That's
just know it because it's complex. So
yeah.
is it really their fault or would it be mine for being a muppet? You know, answers
No,
on a postcard. Fan mail,
yeah. No
please.
comment. No comment. Tumbleweed goes through the podcast.
um,
It's
so yes,
but yeah, but that is a really good point, because actually some of my tents, some of my equipment is actually quite complex, and does take, like your Snow Peak kitchen. It's a complicated piece of kit to put up. Some of my tents are complicated to put up, and if you're not really into camping, you're probably going to struggle a little bit, and you'll get there, because they're not impossible to put up, but equally, like you say, they might come back damaged, and that's probably my fault for lending you something that was
yeah.
potentially beyond what you're able to do as a first time camper, so to speak.
I mean, we go around campsites, we look at people's tents, kind of know from rolling something out, right? Which bit's first? What do I have to do? Start at the bottom, get the
Yeah,
poles in, do whatever. So I can look at something and go, I can work this out, and I know I can.
yeah,
Whereas other people that are not used to tents don't necessarily have that or whatever. So yeah, don't overcomplicate it. Tents are not that complicated, but if you're not in the zone of I know how to pitch tents,
mm,
that'd be really difficult, I think, for some people. Oh, it seems to
yeah.
be,
I remember being on a campsite in Wales around Brecon, and years and years and years ago. and we got set up, and we were just relaxing. And then this couple of girls came and were trying to put this tent up just across from us, and they clearly, you could tell they hadn't put a tent up before, and it's funny because you kind of got that. Do you go over and say, do you need a hand? Or do you get told to F off because they're just going to work it out? Or are they going to be grateful for that? So you kind of didn't until they were really struggling. And the one thing that they really struggled with was trying to get the cleats to grip the guy lines so that they could actually string out the guy lines and secure the tent down. And they couldn't figure out how the cleats slid up and down the guy line. So we did go over in the end, and we did actually show them how to do it. And they were really, really grateful that we'd managed to do that. Which was good. So even what we think is simple stuff, to some people who are new to it, it's a bit of a challenge. So
yeah, I think that's the thing. Tents aren't a complex thing, but most of them go up in a very similar way. If you weren't so picky about it, the easiest tent to put up, I think, is a bell tent.
Yeah, but even I forgot how to do that.
I nearly went over and went, do you need some help, darling?
Oh, yes, please, sir.
But you know what I mean, though? You could say to somebody, right, find your spot, put the ground sheet down, peg out all the little things, and then unzip and put the pole up the middle. It's a very simple thing to be able to do.
It is.
And I think that's the joy of them, as well as the fact that you've got standing height. Being able to put in decent beds and stand up and whatever, which I think is the other joy of It's a Home Away from Home, where climbing in and out of a tunnel tent sometimes isn't what people are used to or expect, and.
Yeah, I don't really want to be climbing in and out of a little tiny hiking tunnel tent for multiple nights anymore, because it's if I'm multiple nights, then I want my bigger tent. Just, what you...
I just got the image in my mind of Twice Nightly. That guy that used to do the countdown thing and multiple nights.
Richard Whiteley.
Twice Nightly Whiteley. And his sidekick, multiple nights.
How your mind works, I do not know.
Once again, up-to-date
references. Oh, God. To our North American and Australian and European listeners.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
There used to be somebody called Richard Whiteley who had a very long-running quiz show called Countdown. And his joke name was Twice Nightly Whiteley. Oh, God.
Multiple nights. Aye, here comes multiple nights.
It's not a very catchy name, but I'll go with it.
Oh, God.
But there is a point there that I was going to get to make. Which was really, if someone comes to you and they want to borrow some stuff and they're going for multiple nights, you might actually want to lend them something that they can stand up in, or a slightly larger tent, because if I wouldn't stay multiple nights in a little tiny coffin tent, then it's going to probably put them off camping forever if you lend them that stuff. So yeah, there was a point I was getting to there.
Yes, no, I'm sorry. It's just my infantile little brain.
Go and sit. Sorry, not on the naughty step. Go and sit on your What was it?
Mischievous step.
Mischievous step. Go and sit on your mischievous step now. Mischievous Ed and multiple night Tim. They're like the most rubbish superheroes you've ever come across in your life.
And a good time was had by all.
And a good time was had by Tom.
Oh dear.
He's not listening.
He's not. Well,
I'm
if-
sorry, go on.
I was going to say, if you like this kind of chat on a very loose sort of camping based theme, don't forget to subscribe, follow us, find us on Facebook, TikTok. We've got dance routines on TikTok.
Have we?
No. Somebody was searching then, you could tell.
How drunk, and I was searching my memory, how drunk did I get when we were camping? I don't remember doing dance routines.
The only kind of routine is the fall on the fire, duck and roll. Duck and roll.
I think it's drop and roll, Ed, but you can duck
drop,
if you
yeah.
like. You can duck if you want to.
Drop and roll.
Oh God. Get
Get that out. Go on, Tim. You can do it.
I was trying to come up with a seamless link to Minute Mindfulness, and my brain went, "No, there isn't one." So I fell over myself. I think we'll jump to Minute Mindfulness, which has been requested back by several people. So let's go to Minute Mindfulness, but don't disappear because we've got more to say.
Welcome to the Casual Camping Minute Mindfulness. Let the sounds of nature take you back to the camping field.
I'm glad that's come back. I'm glad that's come back. Just gives you that minute to be back in the field, back in nature, back somewhere. It's
Yeah. Well, I'm all ears for what else we've got to say, Tim.
Well, there's not much really, is there?
You probably sort of. I was like, oh God, I've forgotten what we'd arranged.
No.
Once again, professional to the end, Tim. We are.
At least we're sober this time. Last week's episode, we were drunk recording.
You sounded all right. I sounded plastered. I mean,
I was.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I think I was certainly towards the end. We were both slurring our words, so it's good to do a sober one. To be honest, it's but we'll
once in a while.
Once in a while, it's good to do a sober.
Don't get used to it, Tim.
But no, just to reiterate, we are going to be at the outdoor expo at the NEC at Birmingham on Saturday, the 22nd of March. So if you're in the UK, come along, say hello to us, and have a look at the show and have a good time. I've run out of stuff to say.
Right. Well,
Doesn't happen often. Doesn't happen often.
Well, I mean, we've been laughing and giggling all the way along. I hope you've enjoyed listening to it. I've been Aid.
And I've been Tim. You're not borrowing any of my stuff.
Casual Camping Podcast accepts no liability and does not officially recommend any products or endorse any techniques discussed in an individual podcast episode or shown on Casual Camping Podcast social media accounts. Individuals should make their own informed decision and risk assessment of any products or advice prior to any purchase or use.